All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, let's get this thing going. Ooh, I did not notice that. Yikes. All right. Very small amount of people coming in right now, but that's okay. We just went live, not a big deal. For those who have never played it before, this is Monster Rancher 3. This is going to be part of a multi-part series of just playing Monster Rancher 3. We are doing a recording. We're going to record every episode I do of this. But welcome back, or just welcome period, to Monster Rancher 3. To my knowledge, there are 4 console games of this. And then there was another one called, I think, Monster Rancher Kaiju Online. I was made aware of that from one of the more well-known people in the Monster Rancher scene. I'm gonna go through a quick encyclopedia transfer real quick to kind of change the music. But from my knowledge, from what I have watched on YouTube and experienced with other people, is Monster Rancher 1 was kind of like a card game. And then Monster Rancher 2, 3, and 4, more or less, I believe 2 and 3 kind of became relatively similar to the show, where you are a monster breeder. You take a monster, you go on little adventures with them, you raise them, train them, and then fight with them. And this is a game that we played a lot when I was younger. And when I was asking family and friends, I was like, oh, well, what kind of games would you like to see on the channel? And one of the brothers said Monster Rancher 3, so here we are. So what I'm doing right now is I am about to go through an encyclopedia. I'm about to go through an encyclopedia knowledge here, actually. Let me put that away. I'm about to go through encyclopedic knowledge here. And we are going to take some data. It is very difficult to set up a disk drive and to physically do the whole disk thing. So what I'm doing right now is I am taking some pre-made data, I believe from a website called Legend Cup. Anyway, this is data made by somebody named Fenric. He or they. I don't really know the pronouns there, but Fenric is somebody who is, to my knowledge, pretty well versed in Monster Rancher. And on their website that they own and operate, they have their Monster Rancher 3 data for emulators. And there was 2 different data that I could have got. One of them was a bunch of monsters and left out all the challenge monsters, and then the other one was all of them, including the challenge monsters, I think I saw. But I kind of want to work towards unlocking some of those challenge monsters instead of just getting them. So Fenric has graciously supplied us with some Monster Rancher 3 data, and to kind of not really go above and beyond the Call of Duty with getting crazy monsters from the start, I'm only grabbing a few. So how this works, I know I skipped this step entirely. For anybody who has never played Monster Rancher 3, how this works is Monster Rancher 3, where I played it, was a PlayStation 2. So when you would play the game, you would go to the shrine, and we'll see the shrine here in a moment. You go through a shrine, and what it does is it's an old PlayStation 1 or just PlayStation process where it will read a disc. It'll read the game disc, and then it'll tell you to eject the game disc and put in another one, whether it be music CD, movie or show DVDs, other games from PlayStation 1 to Xbox, stuff like that. And what it would do is it would read the data on the disc and present you with a monster. And that monster could be of any one of these monster types and their subtypes. We'll just look at the golems, for example. So as you can see, there are 5 regions that the monsters will present you with, and then there are these special regions, which are kind of just like unlocks or mysterious. But what happens, as I said, is it will read the data on that disc, and it will present you with a monster. So I could put in, let's say, the original Halo, and it could give me the golem. I'm going to copy this over, actually. And it could give me the golem. And then I could put in a Britney Spears CD, and it will give me a golem variant called Elibus. And I know which one this is because I've used it before. This is how it works. And then it'll read the data and it'll say put the game disc back in. You put the game disc back in, and next thing you know, you have a new monster. So we have the gel. Let me get this desert gel. But because I am doing this on an emulator, it is not supportive of doing that process in a disk drive. So I'm taking information that was provided to us by Fenric, and I am implementing that data here. Now, as you can see, there are some creatures that their pictures kind of look a little bit cool. Like you've got a Durahan, you've got a dragon, you got a Joker, you got a Zan. Some of these creatures you will not have access to until you reach certain thresholds in the game. Usually that could be the primary championship tournament deal, hitting A rank, hitting C rank, or A rank, S rank. Entering certain regions and going through the storyline. I believe that's how you unlock the Zans and the Jokers. But and then there's stuff like this, the poncho. You just have, there's a certain thresholds you have to pass in the game to unlock them. But I am not going to be doing that. I am going to be just getting a few monsters from this file here that I want. Nothing special, but just something to give us a little bit of extra, you know, push around. You know what I'm saying? Let's get Farn. Yeah, that works. Couple of pixies, couple of tigers. I do have some Beacon, I believe. No, it's not Avalanche I wanted. I have scissors, and I believe I have a plain Beacon. I have a tiger, I've got a zoom. They got some gels, I've got some golems. I believe. Let's get some Naga real quick. So that was Merman. This is the Naga. Let's see. The dragons, the jokers, the Zans, the Durahan, I know for a fact we can't get because the I have not reached the rank to unlock it. We'll get one of these. I believe that should be fine. We'll leave it at that. So we're going to save. All right. Go back to the main menu. So there are 5 regions in this game that we can go to, but we have to start with one. Here's how this data, oh my goodness. Here's how this data works. So up there is the shrine. That is also where the primary tournament is held, I believe. So because we do not have a disc, we cannot regenerate any monsters through the Saucer Stone method. So that means we have to do it through the Encyclopedia method. So, because I just spent a few moments earlier going through and getting some data from Fenric's file, I now have this small handful of monsters that I can play with. You know, I kind of want to get one of my old Beacons back. So this is not the original Beacon. This is a sub-species of Beacon called the Scissors. As you can see, it comes from a water region. But that's fine, because I want to play with it. So if you were to do the Saucer Stone or or the Encyclopedia, either one's going to go through this little cutscene to show you how to regenerate the monster. I'm just going to let it play for recording's sake. We're just gonna call it Scissors. I could be spelling scissors wrong, but it doesn't matter. So, when you look at this monster, you have all these stats that it comes with. The kind of character tells you, the character kind of tells you how the monster, I believe, behaves. Or its I believe it tells you it's kind of like its attitude. You have the bonds. The bonds section. The bar, I believe, is your loyalty, and the heart is like, I guess that's love or care for you. And then the policy is how you are treating your monster. You can be way too lenient. You can be too aggressive. And each one of those can affect how the monster functions, how it lives. And then you have the stats, or the abilities. Fenric did a lot of explanation when they were here last. If you have an ability that is yellow, it is predominantly based on its power. And if you have an ability that the picture is green, it is predominantly based on its intellect. So being that this monster has 2 yellow abilities, if I wanted to hit harder, I need to increase its power. And then, of course, you've got, the other stats that are very self-explanatory, like its life, how much life it has in battle. The power and the intellect is going to be how hard those certain moves hit. The speed is going to be how easily your monster can hit the target accurately and how well it could dodge. And then the defense is how little bit of damage it takes after it gets hit. Then you have these move lists right here that you have to unlock, and it will tell you, the level, the name, the type, how many guts it takes to use it, and what part of the bar it will be on. And you can only have 4 moves at a time, so you have to be very selective of what moves you want your monster to use. And then over here is attributes. This is a gigantic beetle creature, so obviously it's going to have something as an attribute like tough skin, and it tells you reduces damage but makes dodging more difficult. And then charm point that could be seen when laughing. I don't know how bee-clons laugh, but I'm not going to argue. This tells you its overall history, tells you its, is its figure, is it underfed, is it overfed, is it normal, how old it is, what rank in battle it is, what it likes, what it dislikes. For instance, that item right there, so it likes battle. So the more you're in battle, that's something that it really likes, so it will have a better sense of happiness the more that it fights. Let's say dislike. Dislike is a type of, or the dislike scorpion claw, that's a type of medicine. So your creatures, if you train them too aggressively or poorly, or they have a poor diet, they can start to get sick. And then you have items in this game that is like a medicine. One of them is a scorpion claw. It's a type of medicine, but I could believe it also could be a type of food. I don't remember, but I know it's a type of medicine. And this creature does not like scorpion claws as medicine, but it's okay. There are other kinds of medicine, so we're not worried about it. Anyway, you have the option to hibernate your creature. You can put him to sleep and wake him up if you just kind of want to save this creature. So something that I know that some kind of like min-maxing thing is what you can do is you can train a creature. Say if you have a monster that lives an average of 4 years, you can train a monster to about the age of 4 and then come back and put it to sleep. And the reason why they do that is something that's kind of a dead giveaway, is that the monsters in these games are kind of almost like a Tamagotchi. They will inevitably grow old and they will inevitably pass. But when they pass, they give you an item. When we move, we will look at that item. So out of all the regions, we have the primary shrine, and then we have a forest region. Below that is a water region. Below that's a desert. To the right of that is a jungle, and obviously to the north is a cold mountainous area. Because we are still new in this game, this file is new, we only have the jungle, or not the jungle, but the forest, so we have to go to the forest. So we're going to go over some of the things. So when you raise your monster, when you start out, you have 5 different training methods that you can do that will increase, as you see in the bottom left, one of their stats. You can unlock new training that will change how their stats are affected. I can unlock another speed training that will, instead of having a small increase to their speed, it could give a great increase to their speed, but it could lower like their defense. There's just various different ways to train a monster. Rest is very self-explanatory. Your monster will inevitably get tired, so you can rest it. The battles, this will tell you obviously the ranks on the left and the day of the month, the day and the week and the month in the top. And it will tell you, say for instance, this is in the jungle region. It's a tournament in the jungle region. It comes with a prize of 1,000. I don't know what the money is called in this game, but it comes with 1,000 of it. Only 4 entrants, and in the bottom it tells you the prize, and it tells you what kind of prize it is and what creature or monster it could be attached to. So this is a fang ornament, so it's an accessory that could be attached to the zooms, which are the lizards. But anyway, this is, when you go into these ranks, it will tell you what rank you have to be in order to enter this. So we can be rank E. In order to enter, say this monster would have to be a rank B, or it can't enter. And then this is the tournament that lets you rank up. And then you see this down here. This is free. The only reason you need to be very careful about going into free tournaments is any monster of any rank can enter this tournament. So I would suggest, if you can manage to get a monster to A rank or S rank, I would consider then joining these free tournaments, because it is less likely of an opportunity that you're going to get obliterated and lose in this tournament, which can affect your monster's stress levels. But as you see, every one of these comes with a prize. Most of them, if you're doing them upwards in, the ranking, most of them come with accessories. But if you do something down here in the free, because it can be such a painful tournament to enter, and a detriment to your monster's health overall if they lose, it gives you a very nice prize, which is the Aqua Stone. Stones, shards, and orbs. Shards are kind of like the uncommon, and then the stones are kind of like the epic, and then the orbs are more legendary or rare. So stones are obviously more hard to come by than shards, and orbs are harder to come by than that. And what these shards, stones, and orbs do is, when you give these shards, stones, and orbs to the Lord monster of the area that you are training in, it will allow your monster to learn a new ability for combat. So that's why these stones and these shards and if you can ever find one, an orb, show up, and you believe you have the gumption to go and get that item, highly suggested you go after it, because it is a very good item. I'm somebody who likes to play things like Zan and Durahan, so I like to collect these stones and just save them for whenever I unlock those creatures. But so what I was telling about when you have a monster that inevitably passes away, and why people I have known will train a monster to around the age of 4, and then they'll hibernate it, and then they'll train another monster at the age of 4, is because when a monster passes away, it will give you, where is it at? It'll give you a monster heart. So for anybody that was watching the first stream that I did of this, and I inevitably just deleted the the VOD for it because I messed up the stream earlier. So I'm re-recording the beginning. When your monster that you were training before passes away, it will leave a heart, and it tells you right there the materialization of the experience and knowledge of enter monster name here. And you can check the stats. As you can see, my monster had over 500 in a lot of stats and climbing towards getting over 500 in a fourth stat. So if I train this monster to say the age of 4, give them this heart, I don't remember the percentage, but it's going to take a percentage of those really big stats and implement them on the creature that I'm using now. So what I have known is there have been some people who will take a monster, they will raise it to the age of 4, roughly, because I have known monsters mostly to die past, roughly around the age of 4. I've had some that have died a little earlier, and I've had one monster that made it to the age of 7, which is pretty impressive. But if you have a really powerful monster and you give them one of these hearts, if this Beaclon that I have here has 4 stats that are of the range of 500, and then I give him this heart, there's a good chance it could push those stats to 700, which a lot of those times are S rank level stats. But this is a heart for a monster that we had before when we were training, kind of introducing the game to some people, and it passed away. I played the game off stream, off recording, to push this monster to get a heart specifically for this explanation. So at some point in time, this Beaclon will probably get that heart. As of right now, it is very new. It is young, has no loyalty, no experience, no care. So I don't want to put these really thick stats on a creature so young without any loyalty or experience, because that'll make it, even then, it just becomes a glass cannon that is difficult to control in battle, and I don't want to deal with that. So we are just going to go and train the monster like normal. Now that we are in the game, we're just going to go ahead and save real fast. Okay. So looking at the monster stats, he's very tough and very powerful. He has really high defense to start. He has really high power to start. I think what I probably want to do is to see about pushing the life to about 200, the power to over 150, and then the speed to over 150, and then we can try and compete them in an E-rank tournament. So we're going to show you how this works. So first and foremost, we just want to get their power over 150, which is 1 successful train. So you can have a success, a great success, and a failure. Failure obviously doesn't do anything. It affects the monster's mood. It doesn't affect their stats. If you have a success, it just affects their stats a little bit. If you have a great success, it affects their stats significantly. And then you can praise it, or however you want to raise your monster, if you want to be strict, if you want to be nice to it, however you want to do that. So because we just need to get power over 150, we're just going to try and train this monster. And at this early stage, expect failure quite a few times. Just for the sake of streaming purposes, we'll just watch how it does. And there's a failure. This is going to happen for younger monsters. Some monsters are better at, learning quickly, and their successes are a lot more frequent when they're younger. All right, so this is a seasonal transition event. a season transitional event, however you want to say it. So every time we transition into a new season, so we're going into September, so we're transitioning into autumn, you have one of these abilities. I'll just leave the text on screen. So what this allows me to do is it allows me to traverse and adventure around the area to do certain things. I can either find things that will benefit the monster, I can find things that I can use to train their abilities to make their abilities stronger. And I could also speak to the Lord Monster of the area. And when you first start doing this, you have these different items that the more expensive, the longer you'll be able to roam around. I don't have a lot of money in this game, so we will just, you know what, we'll splurge a little bit with barely any money. And I'll show you what this does. So first and foremost, we're going to come over here. I know where all three of them are in this area. We have this something called the noisy bug, or the noisy hall. And what you do when you talk to this specific bug is it allows you to train an ability. I kind of want to train Back Fist, because this is a pretty hard-hitting ability. And if I can manage to get the speed high enough and land it, I'm practically going to just obliterate whatever it hits. So I kind of want that to be the possibility here. So we're going to come over this way. We're going to talk to this flower here. And we're going to go see the Lord Monster of this area. So, because we do not have any shards, stones, or orbs to offer the Lord Monster of the area to give us a new ability, I can't really say, yes, teach me some new skills. So say, since we don't have any skill items, they won't grant us a new skill, so we'll have to come back when we have one. So what I'm just going to do now is I'm just going to take this monster through the area to go to those training bugs, because I want those training bugs to try and level his stats as much as I can. It's going to take a while. I think it takes like 10 or 12 different training cycles in order to level a skill to the second level, depending on what it is. So that was 2. Here's number 3. It'll probably take 6 or 7 or 8 more in order for that to go up to level 2. And we still have a little bit of leftover, so we'll just come right here and see what happens. Don't know what else. We'll just come right here and see what happens. I don't have the map for the venture pulled up. 1,000 gold, that works. I get a 1% return, or a 10% return on what I just did, so that's fine. So once a month you have to feed your monster. And you have 2 different things that you can see what it considers its favorite and its nutrition. If you don't pay attention to the nutrition when you feed the monster, it can get fat and unhealthy. And then its health starts to decline, its stress will be affected. So if you can manage to find, like this, something that it's favorite, but also very nutritious, it's not a bad thing. But say if the nutrition will not stay the same every time you feed the monster. So then that means that, say, if this nutrition drops down to 1, and we need to get its nutrition back up, we might have to feed it peaches, because that's the next thing that it likes that is not absolute trash and has good nutrition. It might not like it, but we don't want the monster to become unhealthy. And then you also see this option down here, nothing. So if you have a monster that is undisciplined and it's just being very rebellious and it's not performing because it's, because of its attitude, you can use this as a punishment. I would not recommend doing this to the monster if you per se are not satisfied with how the monster is operating, because it's not succeeding. So say we saw before, I have this young monster that we just got. He failed every attempt at a power increase, but that's not because he's lazy. It's because he's a baby. He's new, he's inexperienced, he has no idea what he's doing. So he's going to fail. That doesn't mean that I'm going to punish him by not feeding him because he's failing. He has an aggressive temperament, but that doesn't mean that because he's aggressive that he's lazy. That just means he likes to fight a lot. So using this as a punishment because he's failing with an aggressive temperament, it's not something that I would want to do. But we did see that he really likes fish and it's very nutritious for him. So usually when it comes to feeding the monster, money is not an option for me. Because if I start to fail, if I start to lose money, I'll just, level them till they're about D rank, and then I'll just go run over top E and D rank tournaments left and right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to try and pick this, and we're going to see he does rebel. He doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to rest. For the sake of just being a good breeder, good trainer for this monster, we'll just go ahead and let him rest the first time. But if this monster is failing a lot in the next month by the time it's sleep time again, and they don't want to train, but they fail a lot, then that means I'm probably going to make the monster work. See, now we have a success. They have a little bit of idea what's going on. They have good energy. They have good food. They had good rest. So we have this over 150 as our goal. We're going to do it one more time. That works. Almost 160. Now I'm going to look at the stats. I don't want to take them to this tournament right now because this is the second week that we've been training this monster, and out of the 6 times that we've trained them, 5 or 6 they failed 3 out of 4 times, more or less. So I don't want to take them fighting just yet, because not only is my bond with the monster terrible, their loyalty is terrible. So they're going to be very confused and potentially even rebellious when we're in combat, which can cost us a fight. So now what I want to do is I want to train this monster to try and get its health as close to 200 as we can before the next fight. And we're going to watch this for recording purposes. See? A lot of its favorite maxed out, but the nutrition is poor. So if I were to feed this monster this fish, there's a chance that it can start to become unhealthy, and a chance that it can start to become very spoiled. And that is going to cause this monster to be just as undisciplined and just as unhealthy and rebellious that I don't want it to do. So even though that this has max on the favoritism, it's got very poor nutrition. So I do not want to give this monster a very poorly balanced meal. So the peaches, not necessarily its favorite. This, not necessarily its favorite, has high nutrition, but we want to kind of keep balance. Usually what I want to do when I'm feeding this monster is I want to keep the nutrition between 3 and 4, right? So I want to keep it to where it's not ripped and lean, but I want to keep it to where it's, you know, just moderately healthy. So we'll just give it some peaches. Little tired, so we're going to train it again. And this time it didn't rebel. And we had a success. So next week when we rest it, next week I'm not going to have a problem resting the monster. So it's pretty tired. So I have no issue with it going to sleep now. If it usually has more success as a baby, if it has more success as a baby, I will let it rest when it wants to rest. As it gets older, I know that the monster is experienced enough that it does not have to rest every time it feels a little tired, so I will push it. But I will not push it so much that my training style starts to be a little bit too harsh, because then the monster will start to become too stressed, and that can affect its health. As before, it's still a baby, so it's not even 1 year old yet, so it's going to fail a lot of the training attempts. We're going to try and push its health. I'm going to say keep it equal with its defense. So we're going to try and push its health roughly about 160. And then we're going to try and push its speed to about 150. And then we'll see what we can get accomplished in a battle. And because it's also a baby, it's very new. The rivals here, I don't care to talk to them. Because it's still very new. And here we go, a monster wants to rest. Do you want to let it rest? Nope. She'll usually have your back. And it might fail. If it fails, oh well. We'll just let him rest next week. But we have a success, so it's not a big deal. Sometimes you have to be a little bit strict when it comes to their sleeping schedules, because they will... Looks a little stressed out. I think this is just because the monster is just being spoiled. Because I try to usually give it decent food. And I've told it one time that it's going to work through rest. So I think the monster is just being a little bit of a spoiled baby right now. We're going through a season change again. So probably what we're just going to do with this one is we're just going to train its moves a couple of times. So I know this is the second time this tournament has rolled around and I haven't jumped in, but the stats are not to my liking. I want the speed to be in the 150 range, because I know there are going to be some opponents in these tournaments that their stats are just going to be absolutely bonkers. So I kind of want to have some good stats under my monster's belt before I take them up there. And as far as their health, their power, and their defense are going, I'm satisfied with that, but I'm not satisfied with their speed. We're going to let this play through for recording purposes. So let's see. The tournament just happened. So we're at the beginning of month 1. At the end of month 3 is when the new tournament rolls in. We might try and do this tournament in the GOAT region, just to try and get some prize money. So I think I'm going to try and train their speed a couple more times and then let them rest, and then we'll go do that battle and see how that works out. And as you can see, the monster has gotten kind of used to the training regiment. So it's failing a little bit less because it's kind of picked up on what it's supposed to do. So we're going to try and push Scissors one more time. Pass or fail, doesn't matter to me. We're just going to try and push them one more time. Try and break this spoiled mentality out of them. That they don't necessarily get what they want when they want it. Because you don't want to do that either. Because then the monster's discipline wanes a lot. And it's gonna be stressed out in the beginning because it's new to this. It's new to the training, it's new to, you know, being pushed. So it's not necessarily going to like it, and it's gonna get stressed. But there are ways to help it stress. And one of those is one we're about to do here in just a moment. So we're going to give it one of its favorite meals. So the stress level goes down when it says very satisfied. That lowers its stress, I think, by like 5. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lower its stress a little bit more because this particular monster has a love for fighting. So pass or win or lose, we're going to take it fighting because it's going to affect it one way or another. If it succeeds, the stress level is going to go down. If we fail, it's going to be either not affected at all or slightly affected. And our stats are not high enough right now that the monsters are going to be intimidated by us. Because as you can see, like, their stats are very, very closely equal to mine. If my stats were probably closer to the 180, 200 range, this monster would probably just forfeit. Bam. Look at that. That is nuts. And that'll do it. So, you will be able to see 3 different kinds of markers on the board right now. You have a green, you have a blue, and you have a red X. So, the red X obviously stands for a loss, because as soon as I beat this monster in combat, they have a red X. The blue is a victory, but what the blue means is it's not necessarily a tie. The blue means that both monsters were still alive by the end of the combat, but your monster had more health than theirs, so you win because you had a higher percentage of health. And as you saw in the fighting we just did, I put that monster to sleep, so we got a green badge. That means I got a knockout. So me and the person in second place, every single one of us, we can have wins across the board all the way until the point where we fight. But if I have two blues and I'm getting ready for my last one and they have a green and a blue, or they have like a blue and an X, if they win and I have 2 blues and an X, and then they have 1 green and 1 X, or 1 blue and 1 X, that means that they won. Because even though I won 2 battles, they won 2 battles, they got a knockout and I didn't. That is just ridiculous. So, as far as the whole guts thing on the left and the right works. So, As you can see, the number next to the ability tells you how much guts it takes for your monster to compete or to fight. You gain guts just by kind of passively standing around and just letting it recharge. And then you can, expend them by using, using your abilities. So when you have an ability that is more power-based, which is the yellow picture, that is going to be more... that is going to affect their health more. But if you have an ability that has a green picture that is more intellect-based, that is going to affect their guts. And if you can get a very strong hitting intellect move, and you can pound them with it a couple of times, and it's going to drop their guts by 30, it's going to make them less likely to be able to use abilities, especially if they're high-ranking abilities, because obviously the harder-hitting, high-ranking, high-tier abilities are going to cost more guts. But if you hit them with a strong intellect move, and it drains 60 of their guts, and the ability takes like 40 guts to use, and you drop them down to 30, well then that just saved you about 3 to 5 seconds of not getting hit in the face by that incredibly strong ability. I'm happy you finished off Webster immediately. I would have liked to get a knockout, but it didn't work. So right now, the only way I am going to win this tournament, technically, because Belmo has a blue and a green, I have a blue and a green, and if I lose to my second opponent by knockout, they will have a blue and a green. So in order for me to technically win this tournament outright, I have to win against this rival with a blue. Oh my lord. Their Beacon evolved. So I think their Beacon's got a lot more speed. Well, I'm sorry, by the way. That was really rude of me. Hi, welcome in. I saw a first time chat. We're just doing a little bit of recording of this out of request for a family member. Said that on the YouTube channel they wanted to watch some Monster Rancher 3. So I'm doing that because it was a request. I am going to miss pretty much every single ability, I can tell. If they hit me with this and I don't recover, I'm going to shriek. I need to hit them with one good back fist. See if I can hit him with that in return. Yeah, he probably just beat me because of that. See if we can get it up to 27. Alright, let's see if we can get him with one good back fist to win this. There we go. He probably still beat me because he hit me with like 5 abilities and I only hit him with 1. Yeah, he got me by 8%. I don't remember how that necessarily works. A green circle counts the exact same as a blue. Need to finish first either way. Yeah, it's alright. This was the first battle that this monster has been in. There is a monster with the same record as Scissors. We'll be the champion if we win. Yeah, that's true. But like, because my opponent has 2 blues and an X, and I have a blue, a green, and an X, I technically will win over them because I have a knockout and they don't. But see how this monster has a knockout and just a plain victory and a loss, just like I do. We tied, so we have to beat the crap out of each other to see who's gonna win this fight here. And if I can land 3 of those, it's gonna be a cakewalk. But I don't want to jinx the monster speed. Well, she got dizzy. Let's see if we can hit her. There we go. So now I'm kind of just going to hang out and let my guts regenerate until that happens. But I'm just going to let my guts regenerate because I've already put a decent dent in her health. So even if she's going to sit here and hit me over and over and over again, I have enough guts to push back pretty heavy. She'll do nothing to me on this match, but I still want to try and like keep her from pushing towards my overall health limit here. And then I do that. Yes, my defense is the highest. This monster's defense is the highest stat that it has, plus it has tough skin, which is going to make, thank you. Which is going to make it take less of a beating, especially with the high defense stat, but it's going to make hitting something really hard. So to counteract that, this is specifically for this monster. This is why I want its speed to be either its second highest or its third highest stat, because I only got it to 140 before we came in here, but this is why I want this monster's speed to be a really high stat. So it's going to somewhat counteract that secondary passive for tough skin. We're just going to say keep going. Because I do know sometimes if you say beautiful to a monster like this, it could be like, you making fun of me. And Scissors did well this fight, so we're just going to let them rest. So again, let's go ahead and just try and push their speed. I want their speed to be roughly the same as their defense. Once I get their stats that I'm really concentrating on to about the 160 range, that'll be if they succeed one more time. Once we get it to about 160 range, that's going to be when I'm going to try and push a specific degree of stat. So its defense will go up pretty high first, followed by its most likely its speed or its power, and then its speed or its power, third. It's already got a lot of health, so I can probably push the health to about 200 and just literally leave that there all the way up until about B rank. I wouldn't be surprised. Because a lot of the times when you have a very tough monster like this, a high defense with, a really high defense with about 200 health is going to do you wonders. You won't have to really concern yourself. And as we've seen before, this monster is very heavy hitting. So as long as I have its defense really high, I have its speed high to keep up with the defense passive, and then I have its power on top of that pushed really high, it's like as long as I can just hit my opponent and just hit them hard, I won't really have to worry about having a bunch of health until we get into B rank, because then when we get into B rank, you start encountering creatures monsters that don't really care how much defense you have, because they're going to hit you and they're going to take like 25% of it. Once you get into A and S rank, like that's when you've got to start being very particular, because you're going to start fighting Durahans, you're going to start fighting dragons. You're going to fight more B-clons that are going to hit a lot harder than the one that you've got. I don't really necessarily care if this monster adapts to this region, because I already have a Mork's Forest subspecies of B-clon. So I don't really care if it evolves. If it evolves, wonderful. If it doesn't, who cares? I just downloaded the data that gives you all of the subspecies of that particular monster and a few, and I think all of the rare ones. That was a great success, and I'm glad that we recorded that. So right now we're gonna push their speed to about 200. Actually, let me see what their stats look like. We're probably going to encounter a few monsters, specifically a rival one that has a lot of high stats. But I mean, I don't really think it's going to matter. We can just take it to battle, see how it performs. Get us up into that D rank. Because I think we have to get into B or beyond in order to start moving to another area. And I think it's called Kalaragi. I could be saying that wrong. And Goat. Those are the two regions I like being in. I like being in the forest or the jungle, and I like being in the water. Yeah, Saracen, that is Taz's monster that we fought before. So here are those options I did not go over. That was very rude of me. So you have match, which is more or less let's go into the fight. You have forfeit. If you don't think that you'll win, you can forfeit. Or say let's say for example Taz, who's in spot number 2. If I get 4 knockouts on number 5, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and Taz gets 2 blues, 1 green, and an X. So that at that point, even though I have 4 blues, if I were to forfeit, that could possibly throw the victory over to Taz. But to say if like Taz has, 3 losses under their belt, 4 losses under their belt, and even if they win, they're not going to win the tournament. I could just forfeit if I don't feel like fighting them. But I don't usually forfeit. And then, of course, you can check the stats of the monsters that you're just about to fight to kind of see whether or not you feel like forfeiting. And then she asks you, do you want to give them orders? If you decide to say no, she will be more or less an AI taking over. I, per se, don't like doing that because I kind of like to be aggressive when I want to be aggressive, and sometimes she doesn't do it. So I don't necessarily let her give orders because I don't want her to potentially jeopardize my tournament because she's not doing proper aggression. I know I'm probably wasting a lot of guts trying to hit this monster with a really expensive ability, but that's why. If I hit them one time, they've hit me I think twice. They've hit me twice and they've taken that much health. I've hit them once and I've almost put them at half. So now I kind of have like 22 seconds, with these little hand slaps and stuff. I kind of have like now 15, 16 seconds to kind of just build guts, do what I want. I specifically like going for knockouts if I can land a knockout. It's not required, but I like going for knockouts because the more knockouts I have, the better chance I have of winning the tournament. Even if somebody is doing really well outside of, whatever place I'm in. That Saracen's going to be really difficult to deal with. Stuart just obliterated Jimmy. They have really high speed, but I've got better stats than them in everything but intellect. Understandable because one of their abilities are intellect abilities. So I can understand why they have high intellect on. I flat out almost just killed that creature in one ability. And there we have it. if I can manage it, I would like to get Scissors to A rank. Because I can't remember if you either encounter Durahan or if you beat them in a tournament that unlocks them. I can't remember how to unlock them. But that's the monster that I usually train. I like training Durahan. Dragons, you know, whatever. I like training Durahan. That is my goal. Get to Durahan, unlock Durahan, train Suit of Armor. Jimmy has fast footwork. So that means that he is going to be practically like the bane of my existence, where I have tough skin. So his abilities are not going to hit me as hard. That passive on that means that I am not going to be able to hit him as well. But then he's got fast footwork, which means he's going to be hard to hit to begin with. That was a lot of health. I need to hit him one more good time. That'll put him to bed. And there we have it. So far, Stuart's doing pretty good. I'm beating Taz right now because I have 2 knockouts. I'm technically beating Stuart right now because I have 2 knockouts to their 1. So I have to beat Stuart or Taz in order to win this fight, this tournament. Ooh. I got dazed. Probably miss. I'm surprised. Okay, now I'm kind of just going to like hang out a little bit. I saw that daze. I want to get up in there. Never mind. So 2 of the monsters that I trained, 3 of the monsters I trained a lot before I started training Durahan were Beaklons, rabbits, and golems. So the same thing with Jimmy, right? Jimmy has fast footwork. He's going to be very fast. He's going to hit a lot. So to make him a competitor, the trainer should probably find out what abilities he does with your power intellect based. They should increase their speed just a little bit more and then start pumping all of their training into their intellect and power, because that fast footwork is going to help them keep up just passively. And then you put the power behind their abilities, and it's just going to make them very, very difficult to deal with. See, they got higher defense, I got higher speed, they got higher intellect, don't know why. I have higher power and we have matched health. I don't know why I thought that was me doing that ability. I kind of want to keep him as far away from his abilities as he can while I build up my own guts. Yep, okay. Okay, he's backed up. This Beaklon is the only thing I'm actually worried about. I'm dizzy, so I'm gonna kind of try and build up my guts a little bit while I wait for that to go away. I mean, it keeps doing the B-band, which is not too bad. The horn sweep I'm really worried about because that can actually hit. But I literally just put this thing in the mud, so I'm not really worried anymore. See if I can get one more. Yeah, cheat the system. I do like that bee claw. I believe that's the desert one. I think it's called a scorpion. Well, I just went, you know, all O's. That's a shame, man. 5th place, lost every fight. That's rough. So we got our 500. The speed went up to 183, so we can probably push that to 200, push the health to 200. And then push the defense to 200. And then we'll start working on the power before Rank D tournament comes about. I'm starting to get hoarse. I only talk this much on stream. We're going to hit as expected and see what it did. Looks happy, it didn't move. So now that it just got out of battle and just had a good meal, its stress has probably gone down quite a bit, and then we're just going to overall kill the stress and just let it go to sleep. There we go. I don't really like dealing with that person. Okay, so we're going to push the speed up to 200 because it's so close. Failures are still bound to happen, like that. It's still considered a baby. It's not even 1 year old yet. So failures are still bound to happen. Once it hits about 1 year old, the failures will slow down quite a bit. From 1 to about 4, you're barely gonna get any failures. Ooh, we got a great to finish off the week. That's good. Okay, speed is at 200. It's gonna be pretty tired, probably stressed, so we're gonna let it sleep. Throw a carrot at it. Probably a little tired. Okay. I figured it would have been pretty tired, but that's fine. Full of energy. So let's see. We already got the speed over 200. I think I want to get the health over 200 next. That works. We're going to do the health over 200. Then after that, we'll do defense, then we'll do power. Because its power is already high enough that we don't really have to overly train it. It's a strong enough monster that its power is decent. So we don't have to overtrain its power too much. So the health is now over 2. And we're going into a season change. We've already been putting all of our time into Backfist, so we're going to stay on top of Backfist. Try and get it to rank 3. Now, if I can keep this monster alive until like age 7, like I did last time, but I do know about age 4, I'm going to give it Pandora's Heart. Hopefully I can have this monster in about B rank when that happens. And then Pandora's Heart will give it some pretty thick stats on top of that. And then we'll try and push it to S rank. I don't think that the Beacon is going to be able to make it to S rank because a lot of those monsters get really hard to deal with. Especially like the dragons. You get some really thick Beacon up there. You get some strong golems. See the health. Was it the health? I've already forgot. That's bad. No, the health and the speed, we've got over 200, so we're working defense. I think it's telling me that it's tired. Yeah. We'll just let it rest. Alright, let's see. We're going to push 1 defense. Let's just watch this for recording purposes. Let's go check the battles. See how the battles are doing. Well, we have this festival already happening. I don't know if I want to take it into the D rank yet. No. I think I'm going to skip this festival. Yeah, it doesn't look very well. It's because it's a little tired. We're gonna skip this festival and then we're gonna hit the next one. By that point, all of the stats that I want to focus on for Scissors is gonna be in the 200s or over, and then I have literally nothing to worry about. The next 2 meals after this are probably going to be level 3 nutrition, because I don't want it to be like overly have over nutrition. I want to kind of keep it in the middle. I don't know if I can check its body yet. Yeah, I can. Sweet smell. Strange smell. Strange sweet smell that clouds the mind of enemies. Oh, I got that from that Roma Scargo. Nice. See, okay, so my monster's chubby. So now this is the point where I want to start giving it like nutritional food. High level nutrition food. Defense, if I forgot, it doesn't hurt to give it more. This is where I want to start giving it high level nutrition food, even if it hates it. And you can see my policy has changed to harder. It's because I have started to be a bit harder on the monster than I'm guessing I should be. Little tired. So because my training regimen is getting a little bit hard, which is going to make it stressful, I'm going to try and let it rest a little bit more often. Because if you have a hard training policy, that can cause your monster to get more stressed, which will inevitably make it sick. And we don't want that. And this is Scissors' first birthday. I'll let y'all enjoy the song. All right. So now our goal, get the power above 200. Check the battles again. Well, we technically could do that goat battle, rest, and then do that battle. With this monster, I want to try and fight a lot. Rough. And our monster's growing. So the characteristic has changed. We're going to go check that. So the characteristic, it's changed. It's become a little bit older, a little bit more experience. So it's less aggressive. So it's just a normal monster with a normal attitude. The two things I need to change now are my policy and its figure. I need to get its figure under control, and I need to change my policy. I just want to do one ability train, and then I want to prepare it for that fight in the goat region. Probably what we're going to do is try and participate in those two battles, and that'll probably wrap up stream because it's getting kind of late on my end. Alright, let's check the battles. Okay, we'll rest. Then we'll battle. After that, depending on how the monster feels, we will either raise it or rest it again, and then we'll do the tournament. I don't see any... Yeah, I don't see any rivals. That low intelligence that Scissors has right now is probably going to be the point where a lot of opponents don't want to forfeit because the stat's really low. But once I start increasing the rest of the stats really high, that stat's not even going to become a factor. One good hit. We just need one good hit. What's up, Crow? One good hit. One good hit. Damn. Okay. One good hit. One good hit. That's it. That's all we needed. Oh, I'm gonna hydrate. I'm starting to go hoarse again. It'd be nice if they forfeit. I don't think they're going to, though. Alright. Let's see. Oh, it's a rabbit. Damn it. I've almost caught up to it in speed. That's a good thing. Just gonna hang out, let our guts build up. About 75. Love you, Pookie. Are you not hanging around? You gonna bounce out? Okay, we just got 2. Ooh. Let's at least try and get one of these in. There we go. Heck, I should have probably started leveling that one. This back fist does a lot of damage, but it barely hits. Let's try it. I'm gonna try for another back fist again. Oh yeah, we definitely need to start landing some stuff now. Yeah, we need to land hits. This right here, I've got to land this or we lose. And there we have it. Yeah, they came very close to beating me there. Very close. I think I'm going to try and train its speed one time before we go into battle. Again, I want this. I want it to hit. No, we have to rest. We have to rest. Alright, here we go. We're going to try and push ourselves into C tier, and then we're going to have to call it, because I started a little bit later than I would have liked to, because I was making dinner. We have one rival. What the stats looking like? I like gels. Ooh, dizzy right out the gate. For this gel, I kind of want to try and stay in his face. Because that little punch ability he has is doesn't hit that hard. So I kind of want to stay up in his face. Alright, we're going to try one more time with him being dizzy. There we go. Pretty much from this point on, I can just kind of stand here. That's mostly going to affect my guts if it hits. Kind of waste time a little bit. See if we can get one more in for a knockout. Nah, that's fine. Alright, Taz is doing pretty good. I need to try and increase my monster strength, or intellect, the intellect to probably like 100. Because I'm not going to get any forfeits while it's that low. Just hang out a little bit. Try and get about 70 guts, and then we'll try and hit her, but she's going to dodge left and right. She's got really high speed on her. Yeah, I should have probably been leveling that B-man. This thing hits so much. Oh. Yikes. Let's see if we can land another one for the knockout. We'll just keep spamming it. Okay. No, come here. It's okay. Right there. One more hit. There we go. Alright, well, so far we're winning. We have a tie, we have a win and a knockout. Really high speed, watch. Yeah. Just gonna try and B-ban him to death. You can tell right in the very beginning if the attack's gonna hit or not based on the angle of the camera. Okay. Oh, if this hits, it's over. Oop, we got a daze. Just gonna kind of hang out, let my guts go back up. Try and send him home with this right here. There we have it. You know, I liked that color Pandora that we had because it was a funny little goofy monster, but it's just... it just didn't have the power that I wanted to push the ranks with. We already fought an Armif at one point. there goes my guts. Look at that. Oof. Narmif didn't care. Just took those guts. There's one. Oh, he got dizzy. You're confused. There we go. That's a good one. Let's try one of these, see if we can land it. No, didn't think so. We're gonna try and land it now. Kind of hang out a little bit. Let the guts come back. Get another one of these in. Get another one of the. Oh, they got it before I did. Lucky. It's okay. Wasn't a knockout, but we still got to win. I could literally forfeit this match against Taz and I would win. See, this is the situation I was talking about. Because right now, I can have a forfeit and it would give Taz 4 blue circles and 1 X. I have 2 blue circles, 2 green circles, and an X. So even though we both have 4 wins, because 2 of my wins are knockouts and none of Taz's wins are knockouts, I will win this. But he stole all of my mushrooms, so just for the sake of getting redemption for Color Pandora, I'm gonna try and punch this bug to death. See, Taz did the right thing. Taz leveled their B-Ban ability. Theirs is at level 2. Swing one of these at him, see if we can land it. No, I didn't think so. That's what I'm talking about. Let's try and keep them away for a while. Ooh, their B-Ban's level 3. I just realized that. I technically don't even have to win this. This little back and forth. I'm gonna try one of these again. Here we go. Night. Good night. Very good. Very good, very good. Well, in literally no time, we managed to get this monster up to C rank in a fraction of the time it took me to even get the first monster to E rank. Alright, what stat do I want to pick up? I think I probably need to push its speed again. Need to get the speed to about 300. Then I need to get the defense and life to about 250 and the power to about 250. Let's see, what are we going to feed it? A carrot. Looks like it doesn't care. We're going to let the monster rest. That's two tournaments that's fought in literally 3 weeks. I'm going to check this real quick. My policy is still apparently hard. It's chunky. Okay. Alright, let's try and get the speed up into about 300. That's what I like to see. Speed 300, that's what we're looking for. So as you can see from when we first started training the monster, the amount of experience it gets for completing a training has also gone up. That's the experience that it has gotten from not only battle but from training. As well as its age, you know, it's already a year old, so it knows the drill. I want to see what it looks like now. Still chunky. Okay. Rest. So in Monster Rancher 3, this actually becomes a little bit easier, this training regimen, because in that game you can actually set the schedule and just kind of let it do its thing. In this game, you have to go week by week. We got a tournament in Brillia. I got one in Kohlrabi, but our popularity will go down if I do that. Let me save, actually. Alright, we're going to keep pushing its speed. I've already put the time and effort into training its back fist abilities, so we're just going to keep doing that. Oh, I need to start... If I can get this monster to A rank, I need to start going into those, free tournaments. So I can go get some stones and shards. Do I want to train this? No. Feed time. I might have to give it something it hates. Yeah, we're gonna have to give it something it hates. You're gonna have to do that because it's chunky. Let me look at these items because I was given some items. Adjust to nutritional diet. These help with stress. I don't know what this does. I can't remember. I believe this also helps with stress. This is medicine. You know what, we're going to go ahead and just give it this soup. Looks like it hates that a lot. Give it to it anyway? Nah. What a big baby. One more speed to push it decently over 300, and then we'll work on something else. There we go. A little tired. Let's push their power. It's a little stressed out. So in order to kind of just fix that policy, every time the monster says it's tired, we just kind of have to kind of just let it rest. Let's try this. Well, it's telling me that I have apparently a really hard policy on training this monster, even though I have not done anything different. I've not done anything different now than I was doing before. Let's see here. Well, we have a battle in the Takrama region next week. We can try and participate in. Let's raise its health a little bit. So this is Takrama. This is the desert region. We're going to see what we can do. Oh, she's here. Great. Decently high stats. 300 intellect. Well, that's because of beam. Speed is bazonkers. But as long as I can hit it like 2 or 3 times, I'm probably going to kill it. I have better speed, better defense. I have better power, better health. It's just outdone me by intellect. That's it. I'm going to do that 2 or 3 more times and we're in the money. This monster right here is called a Hengar. This was also one of the first monsters I ever trained. But I had the jungle version. I believe this is the desert Hengar. But I trained a jungle Hengar that looked like it had a samurai hat on, and then I trained a special Hengar. It was like a mystery one. I just got confused. And it looked like a little pharaoh. It was funny. One more. Damn. It's okay. It still counted as a win. I think after this fight, we're truly gonna tap out. Holy moly. I am not going to hit this monster one time. Yeah, she's probably going to beat me this run. Unreal. let's hope in a dream. I think I need to hit her once. Yep, I think I just pretty much won at that point. Because she is going to have to raycast her little guts out in order to beat me. She's probably going to, though. Oh, let's try. Let's just give it a try. Yep. Oh, that might have done it. Oh, that might have done it. That might have done it. That might have done it. Oh, I think they won by the slightest margin. Ooh. 0.7. Ooh. That's bonkers. I like that. Yeah, it was a good thing I trained health before I came up here, huh? Let's see. I need to push the health to about 250 and then the defense. Or vice versa. I can train in Takrama. Nice. I can go to the desert. All right, we're going to do one more. We're going to do one more of these ventures, and then we're done. Done for now, at least. You know what? Let's see what happens when I do this. Ooh, we got something for speed. Very nice. That'll do it. One more good feed. All right, let's check the stats. So the defense and the health need to go up over 250. And then after that, we're going to try and get the intellect over 100. Still a little chunky. Don't know why. All right. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this this episode. When we come back, we're going to try and push Scissors into at least B or A rank, because Scissors is only like a year and a half old. I assume they'll make it to about the age of 4. So we're going to try and push them into B or A rank. If we can get all of their stats pretty close to about 500 or so, we'll go ahead and give it the heart, and that'll probably happen next episode. But anyway, thank you so much for coming by. Thank you so much for watching the episode. This is going to be a long series. We're probably going to go through a few monsters, make a few episodes out of this. See what we can do about unlocking some of the more harder hitting and rare monsters. But we'll see what we can do. Anyway, this is Oni Gameplays, and this is Monster Rancher 3, and we will be back with the next episode. Stick around.